We're suffering from a collective hallucination. Over the last decade, the tech industry has spent billions of dollars on venture capital to solve a specific problem. How do we collaborate online? And the answer we came up with? We decided to digitize the limitations of paper. Look at your last remote strategy session. What did you do? You likely opened a browser tab on an infinite canvas. You dragged digital yellow squares onto a digital wall. You typed inside them. You grouped them. It felt like work. It felt like innovation. But I'm here to tell you that what you were actually doing was creating digital graffiti. We've mistaken an analogy for innovation. We looked at a physical workshop and asked, how do we put a sticky note on a screen, instead of asking, what's the function of a captured idea? This isn't just a design peeve. It's a massive economic drain that I call the whiteboard delusion, and it's killing your company's ability to actually make decisions. In my recent writing, I've been exploring a concept that explains why most digital transformation efforts fail to actually transform anything. My core thesis is this: we've imported the inefficiency of atoms into the efficiency of bits. Physical sticky notes have constraints because of physics. They're made of dead trees. They're limited by our handwriting size. They have no data connection to the rest of your business. Physics does not dictate that a thought in a software program must be a yellow 3x3 square with no inherent data connection, yet that's exactly what we built. By prioritizing the freedom of input, that feeling of infinite space, we've destroyed the utility of output. We create artifacts that die the moment the meeting ends. In this video, I want to walk you through how we dismantle this delusion. We're going to look at the idiot index of collaboration, the physics of information, and finally, how we replace this innovation theater with a decision engine based on jobs to be done and real options. Let's start with the cost. And I don't mean the subscription cost of the software, I mean the cost of the process. There's a concept I use called the idiot index. It was made popular by Elon Musk. It's a ratio. The current commercial cost of a thing divided by the theoretical minimum cost of that thing. If a molecule costs $1 to extract, but you're selling it for $100, your idiot index is high. You're inefficient. Let's look at a brainstorming session. The theoretical minimum cost to input ideas, rank them, and algorithmically sort them is about 7 minutes of human processing time per person. But the current reality involving a digital whiteboard? You have facilitator prep, login friction, the manual creation of stickies, the dragging and dropping, the manual grouping of themes, and finally, the most painful part, the manual transcription of those stickies into Jira or Trello after the meeting. That takes about 150 minutes of collective time. That gives our current process an idiot index of 21.4. Our current process is over 21 times more expensive than the physics of information suggests it should be. Why? Because of interface management. We're managing the tool, not the data. This creates what I call the facilitator bottleneck. Because the data is unstructured, it's just colored squares on a vector map, you need a human Wizard of Oz to interpret it. You're paying high-wage human capital to perform administrative setup and transcription rather than strategic thinking. The facilitator becomes a patch for bad software design. Here's the technical reality that the infinite canvas tries to hide. To a computer, a digital whiteboard is just a list of vectors. It sees a yellow rectangle at x-coordinate 100 and y-coordinate 200. It sees text inside it. To the rest of the enterprise stack, your CRM, your ERP, your project management tools, this is gibberish. It's a semantic dead end. You can't automate the flow of work if the work is trapped in a format that machines can't parse. This is why I say the future is not the canvas, it's the graph. We need to stop treating ideas as drawings and start treating them as objects. Imagine if instead of drawing a square, you created a database row. That row has an owner, a status, a dependency, and linkage to a strategic objective. You can view that row as a card on a board, sure, but you can also view it as a list, a timeline, or a report. This is the shift from drawing to modeling. And it leads us to the most critical part of this video, if we aren't just brainstorming, what are we actually doing? We need to reframe innovation funding. Stop looking at it as a creative art project and start looking at it as a staged investment process. I call this the real options approach to innovation. In finance, an option gives you the right, but not the obligation, to make a transaction later. Innovation is the same. Instead of a monolithic business case where you bet $10 million on day one, you're purchasing a series of options. Phase one is the option to explore. You make a small investment, just enough to fund qualitative research. You aren't building software yet. You're buying information. If the signal is weak, you exercise the option to abandon. You kill the project with minimal loss. If the signal is strong, you proceed to phase two, the option to validate. Here you invest in quantitative data. You verify the market. Only when you've reduced the uncertainty do you buy the option to build. That sounds logical, right? But look at the current whiteboard. Is it structured to track these options? No, it's a mess of brainstorming ideas mixed with feature requests. It lacks the rigorous schema required to make these financial decisions. So, if we have the structure, real options, and the medium, structured data, what's the content? What are we actually putting into this engine? This brings us to jobs to be done. Most companies innovate based on what I call the Skeuomorphic live product features. They try to make a better drill. But as the classic saying goes, people don't want a quarter-inch drill, they want a quarter-inch hole. Actually, let's take that a step further. Let's elevate the level of abstraction, a key technique in my framework. If you focus on the drill, you build a better motor. That's sustaining innovation. If you focus on creating storage space, you might invent 3D printed localized shelving or a magnetic wall system that requires no drilling at all. That's disruptive innovation. This is the disruption option. By asking, is there a higher level job that makes this entire process obsolete? You move from improving steps to obliterating them. But you can't see these opportunities if your data is trapped in a sticky note that just says, make a drill faster. You need a job map. So let's bring this all together. We are currently stuck in a high entropy environment. We use infinite canvases that create cognitive load, require manual facilitation, and result in dead-end data. The future is what I call the self-facilitating system. Imagine a quarterly planning session. In the old world, a facilitator spends 4 hours setting up a board. In the new world, the world of the decision engine, the board pre-populates. It pulls Q3 performance data from Salesforce. It pulls uncompleted features from Jira. It pulls budget constraints from your ERP. The meeting isn't about generating sticky notes. It's about processing structured options. And when you make a decision, when you click approve, it's not a drawing, it's a trigger. The system updates Jira. It posts the summary to Slack. It archives the rejected options in a decision log for future reference. The system handles its own administrative overhead, reducing the cycle time of decision-making to the theoretical minimum. This is how you drop the idiot index from 21 down to 1. We have to stop optimizing the drill, the interface, the colors, the infinite zoom. We have to focus on the quality of the whole, the decision. The digital conference room is a feature, not a product, and customers are about to fire it to hire a decision engine. We've covered a lot of ground, from the physics of information to real options analysis, but this is really just the framework. The execution, how you actually write a customer success statement, how you map the 17 universal journeys and the specific prompts you need to deconstruct these problems, that requires a deeper dive. I've written a comprehensive series of articles that detail the innovation matrix, the job to be done verb lexicon, and the exact deconstruction protocols I use with my clients. If you're tired of digital graffiti and want to start building a true innovation engine, I highly recommend you read the full documentation. I've linked to a full breakdown in the description below. It's dense, but it'll change the way you work. Thanks for watching. Stop brainstorming and start deciding.